All right, I'm gonna go get some paint clothes on, and then we are going to paint the cabinet doors and drawer fronts for the pantry back there. These are those ones that we ordered online. Garrett built the cabinet and then we just ordered these. So I'm gonna show you guys how we do that. We've gotten lots of questions and I've never actually done a DIY post on this. So we are gonna hand paint it with a brush. So it's, you know, pretty easy. Garrett's a little particular about shaker panels. He likes to caulk this seam right here. Because if you don't, it's a pretty hard edge. And when you paint them, you kind of see like a black line there, so. Okay, so why do you like to caulk the inside seams here?
I think it gives the panel just a little bit higher end look. Of course, obviously you would not do this if you were just having like a nice wood door or drawer, but for painted doors and drawers, I like to caulk these front seams so that it's all continuous.
Okay, so that caulk takes about 30 minutes to dry, I think. But it doesn't really matter. We're gonna flip these over and just start on the backs and get our first coat of primer on. I'm gonna be using a roller and we're ready. Let's do it. We're using this primer because it's what was in the basement. It does say it's for all surfaces. If you're dealing with an existing paint or like wood finish that you want to get off, what I would recommend is lightly sanding it, doing that outside, just to scuff the surface, and then hopefully the new primer would hold. And you might want to talk to the guys at the paint shop because they might have a better primer for that. We are going to use a roller with the smooth surface and then have a brush on hand and a rag on hand. This is one coat of the primer. We did use the roller, so there's just a little tiny bit of texture. I prefer just like brushing the whole thing. I prefer that look, but it's a lot slower. So, you know, pick your poison. On the sides, I use the ruler and I try not to put too much on because what you don't want to happen is it to drip onto the front or to leave like a paint edge on here. So that actually looks pretty good. And then, so we'll flip these over when they're dry. Well, actually, we might put a second coat on when they're dry and then flip them over. And 1 to 2 coats of primer I would do, depending on how it looks. And if you are using a dark paint color, I would think about tinting your primer in a similar color in case you ever get scratches in the future. You won't see that white below it. In between coats, we just throw a little saran wrap on the paint, and we put everything that's wet in a Ziploc bag. I flipped these guys over, so I'm gonna prime this side. And when I flipped it over, this actually looks pretty good, but sometimes you'll get kind of a lip from when you painted this side. So you can just take a little bit of sandpaper and just kind of give it a little light rub. Okay, so for the sides, there's just a coat of primer on, but you can see how the paint likes to drip on sides. So I'm gonna use this roller that barely has any paint left on it to roll the sides, and that'll give it a nice even coat without drips, hopefully. So this is the 2 coats of primer on this side, and I wanted to show you guys, this is the back side of the door, so I'm not gonna worry about the texture as much, but this right here I am gonna sand off. On the other side, on the fronts of the doors, I'm probably gonna give them all a light sand because I care about the, you know, the finish on this a little bit more, and I want them to be just a little bit smoother. And that roller gives you just a tiny bit of texture. It's kind of hard to see. Not much, but just a tiny bit. So that's the plan. So it doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just trying to get like just close to even there. And then hopefully that good quality paint's gonna take up any of the difference in the side and the height there. Okay, so I want to show you guys, I'm doing kind of a thin coat, but you can see a little bit of that texture from this. See that? And this is a really smooth roller. And then if you paint, you know, you're gonna get a little bit of brush mark. So if you're hand painting, it's kind of give or take. You know, it's one or the other. I would say this is Benjamin Moore's Advanced, and we're using satin. And Advanced is a really nice paint, so it'll kind of take up some of that brush marks as it dries. It'll kind of smooth. So good paint is definitely worth the investment in cabinets. I'm gonna get the drawer fronts and door fronts their second coat. I'm already wearing my running clothes because I was hoping to go for a run today. So I'm actually just gonna throw on an apron. It's kind of my trick when I'm really lazy, and hope that I don't get any paint on that. And yeah, I think we're ready. So the backs look really good. You can see a little bit of texture in them. Like they're pretty smooth. And this is the back, so I'm not gonna worry about that. You could totally knock it down with a little bit of sandpaper. But that's only one coat of paint, and I think it's probably good enough for the backs. Like it looks pretty consistent, and it is that good quality paint. So I'm super happy. No drips that I can see. So we're gonna flip these over and do the fronts. We'll probably put 2 coats on the front. So our pantry is really shaping up, and the cabinets are built and they're painted and they look awesome.